Hey YouTube, welcome back to Love for Traffic. No, I'm only joking. It's good to be back, guys. As you all probably know, I've been on holiday and I basically took a break fully away from doing the YouTube videos. Probably not posted now for a good 10 days. And a lot of stuff has actually happened in that 10 days, which I'll probably fail to cover in this video. Just due to the fact that I pretty much basically forget more than they actually know. And so I'll do my best to try and go over things. There is some good talking points obviously out there in the community at the moment. There's the tensions and the divide between the speculative and the people who are adamant on only issuing facts rather than trying to join the pieces, if you want to call it that. So we've had a lot of talk about Temenos, CGI, ACI's just come out, another one. Obviously we've got the SAP integration. Basically what this is what we seem to be finding ourselves hearing and finding blatant connections to over the past, I mean, I wouldn't even like to say the past couple of weeks. I think this information has been out there for a while now, but a lot of people are only just stumbling across this this As you well know, there's a lot of services this month that are setting deadlines. For example, for November, you got Swift GPI, which is a mandatory change for customers by November the 20th. Again, this isn't a direct partnership with Ripple. You know, I think we've all discussed, been through that, and obviously from the CBOS event and the Money 2020, we've gathered information that you can see there's a bit of rivalry between the two, between Ripple and Swift. All sorts of Ripple executives throwing out cheap blows, if you want to call it that, to Swift. Nonetheless, so the good thing about the Swift GPI is, and they have stated this themselves, that there will be plugins available for third-party settlement processors. I mean, that's exactly what Ripple is, what XRP is. Again, this isn't a direct partnership, although a direct partnership would not be needed in this case with the simple API plugin. If you look at on Ripple's side, obviously you've got XVIA, which is basically a connector portal that can offer all the services that Ripple do offer, Xcurrent, Xrapid and so forth. So although there's not been a direct partnership, direct link between the two, Swift have embedded into their new technology, obviously the GPI, that there will be third-party distributed ledger technology settlement processes that can be plugged into the Swift GPI in order for settlements to maybe happen outside the network before being rerouted back into Swift. We've had news from Temenos. Temenos have openly and publicly stated, you know, all we're waiting for is regulations in order to move to that next step and start using digital assets in payment flows as a liquidity tool, as a financial, you know, aid for these transactions. Again, with Ripple, it's not about changing the infrastructure as much. It's more of how they can grease up the current rails that we have, improving those rails. Basically removing the spaghetti from the system, from the intermediary banking system. That's no longer needed. You know, I don't know if you're new to the channel, if you follow us on Twitter. I've been on Twitter, I've been smashing out absolutely loads of information on Twitter, and there's been a lot of good people, that especially new people that I've come across. One of them who I'm finding for a lot of useful information is Simon Adams. He's well under the radar at the moment. I highly suggest you give him a follow. There is a couple more that I've started interacting with. As I said at the start of this video, there is a lot of information that I do need cover. I'm going to struggle to put it all in to this video, but what I have got planned, I'm going to do a screen record video where I can actually throw all this information up, speak over it, show you all these articles, these facts, these connections, these partnerships, these integrations, whatever you want to call them. And obviously you'll be able to visualize exactly what I'm saying a lot easier. But you know, back here, back in the van, back doing the blogs, back doing the podcast on the roads. So I'm just, like I say, I'm just going to be doing a brief overview. I've got to catch up with a lot of the news basically, and I do plan on every single time that I'm in work, I'm in my van, I'm going to do a video, I'm going to do a podcast, and obviously discussing the latest, speculations, facts that have actually been announced, and so forth. So yeah, in regard to Temenos, the T24 system, Ripple has been fully integrated into that. Again, we're not going to see anything with XRP, with payment flows, until we do get that regulatory framework built around the ecosystem. Again, it's absolutely, I can't emphasize how crucial regulatory framework is in order for banks' payment flows, for financial, payments to actually pass through XRP. There does need to be set in stone regulations, certain saying how we can actually use these digital assets and what the framework is that we have to actually use. But Temenos have come out, and again, I'm going to be covering a lot about Temenos, specific stuff that their executives have been saying in regards to digital payments in the future of banking, what actual purpose banks will fulfill in the future, because I do believe banking itself is evolving with this technology. We're seeing all sorts of new technologies now come out that are aiding this, this development in finance is probably the best way of putting it. ACI was a new one that came out yesterday. They settle $14 trillion in settlements every day. It did come quite as a shock to me, this, because obviously we all concentrate on the payments side of things here with Ripple, because obviously that is their main focus. But we cannot eliminate and we cannot forget about the derivative side of things. This technology, XRP, it's going to change the landscape of payments. The internet of values as such, if you want to call it that. I mean, at the moment now, let's just say, for example, you hold Facebook shares and you want to use some of those shares to maybe go and buy an asset, buy a house, a property. In order to do so, you obviously got to cash out in US dollars. You've got your settlement time waiting for that to happen. And then if you're British, you've obviously got your foreign exchange rails that you need to go through. So you could be waiting for a good few days, couple of days, maybe up to a week, in order for you to have, the cash, the Great British Pound, settled from Facebook in order for you to go and buy these houses. But with the derivatives and the smart contract side of thing with Codius, in the not so distant future, you will be able to see smooth transaction where you could find a house, you could get your Facebook shares, and you could literally just exchange them instantaneously into the currency and to the asset that you need there and then on the spot, with no settlement waiting fees, clearing houses. I'm not going to dive too deep into that, but as we were saying with this ACI, I mean, they're settling 14 trillion a day. Now, if you think about the likes of Swift and payments and transactions, roughly settling around 6 trillion every day. But then when you start throwing derivative products into that for settlement, you'll find absolutely it'll be quite a monstrous jump in the volume of actual payments, in settlements, in actual total dollar cost of clearance. It's just something to bear in mind, because we will be moving down that smart contracts avenue in a not so distant future. Again, it's a crawl, walk, run scenario, and it's one piece at a time that needs to be mastered first before they spread themselves too thin, try to cover all costs. But I do believe that's why Codius is set up independently away from Ripple, the company, in order to pursue the smart contracts revenue avenues, and it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I mean, the Bank of England, their real-time gross settlements, I think they're probably settling close to $1 trillion themselves every day. I wouldn't like to think what it is for the Federal Reserve, and I would just be throwing it out as a guess, so I don't really want to give a figure on that. But the fact is, obviously, Ripple have been in proof of concept with the Bank of England since 2015 and the Federal Reserve since 2015, and we've also heard which I'm sure you're all fully aware, that they are working with 40 to 50 central banks. Now, I'm not saying that this is partnership in order for it but the way I see it, and the way that I've heard it, I mean, if you look at the Federal Reserve, they're looking at upgrading their RTGS system, that's real-time gross settlement systems, by 2020. The Faster Payments Task Force, as you're obviously fully well aware about this now at this point, that's not new news. But what I'm basically trying to get out is just the volume of these settlements. It's quite astonishing in comparison, to remittance. The way that XRPL, I mean, like you say, it's live at the moment. We've not seen such a price increase from the actual initial announcement. But what you've got to look at, we've got high volume low value payments that are liquid enough now to pass through this ledger, and that's great. That is showing now that remittance cost is live, it's passing through the ledger. Again, we've not seen much with the value of XRP moving upwards, but that's because there's no need to. With remittance, you're probably looking at an average of $50 to $200 per payment, and the XRPL is developed in a way now where it can easily sustain those type of high level, high volume, low payment values. Obviously, when we're talking about clearinghouses, real-time gross settlement, we're talking high value payments, maybe in low volume. But in order for this to become a reality and a possibility, we do need to have a more liquid XRP token, and by doing so, it's about scaling payments at this point in my eyes. And what that basically means is we need to be able to process high value payments, maybe at a lower volume than the remittances that you'll see. And in order to do so, there's only one way that we can do this to make the spreads thin. You know, the spreads are well too far apart at the moment in order to process these funds. It's all about scaling up now the value of XRP. The only way that we can process these high value funds is by having a high value XRP. Make no two ways about it. If you want 2 to 3 to 4 trillion passing through XRP, a 44 cents XRP is not capable of settling those payments without the spreads being too big. And it's all a development process and evolution now of the XRPL in order to create a higher and sustained value XRP, in order to create those high payment flows, high value payment flows is probably the best way of putting it. So again, ACI are looking to integrating the Ripple technology. We've got Temenos. Again, they're sort of your software providers for your banking institutions. The way that I like to look at it is, Ripple may have partnered with X amount of banks, let's call it 200 banks, and that's great, don't get me wrong, that is absolutely fantastic. They're directly on RippleNet. Of course, they still need to remain on the Swift GPI network, because other banks that they will be in correspondence with may not have upgraded to RippleSec, may not have even been approached by Ripple, and their technology will be unfamiliar with them. So we still do need to keep the original payment rails, what I like to call the spaghetti back end of the banking system. The intermediary banking is basically a spaghetti loophole. It takes ages to transfer through these payment rails, and it's basically hopping from one bank to another. And in this day and age, it doesn't need to happen no more. But again, we can't just click our fingers and everyone be on RippleNet and nobody use Swift. It is an integration process. It may take its time. Well, listen, there's a lot of people out there talking about Temenos, about CGI, ACI, about SAP integrations, and this is great because these are basically the software providers for your banks, the reputable ones. Just to give you a figure out there, Temenos currently serves for 3,000 banks worldwide, and that's just one software provider. And what they've done, they've fully integrated Ripple tech into their settlement and clearance backend sort of provide software. And again, you'll be seeing a lot of the word API, the application plugin, where these financial institutions, banks, all these different types of services will start offering APIs now where they can plug into other systems for other services. And as we spoke about before with Swift, Swift CGI, Swift, I forgot what it is, even though I said it about 4 times in the video. Oh, GPI, that's it, Swift GPI. We've come out, we've had people from Ripple saying that there's no direct partnership with Ripple and Swift. And it's fully understandable. At this point, they probably are competitors. But again, I've got a lot of information, that visuals that will help understand that even though they're not partners, even though that they're not maybe in cooperation with each other at this point, it has not been ruled out about the possibility of what I have claimed happening further down in the line. Ripple have got to prove themselves to be what they are still. It's still early doors for Ripple. Obviously, it's a promising technology. And when you look at the likes of who they are integrated with Temenos, a lot of people don't realise how big that is. But more importantly, it's the credibility that Ripple are getting worldwide now. I'm sure every single financial institution and bank have heard of them, are probably doing their own research into how DLT can actually benefit their side of their business for cost savings, all these sort of things. And like I say, with Temenos, it's absolutely massive. With ACI, I mean, like I just said, they're settling $14 trillion US daily. I mean, that's daily settlement. You know, we talk about payments and all this stuff, but when we talk about derivatives, you know, highly advanced contracts, financial contracts, you know, with multiple sorts of payout sort of things, you know, with the smart contract system built around that, you can remove the middleman, remove the back office in order for these payments to be settled. And like I say, for your average settlement, if you want to cash out of your Wall Street, Facebook stock, Amazon stock, stuff like that, then you have got like a 2-day clearance in order for it to happen. And again, with Ripple and XRP, well, it's designed for settlement. It doesn't matter whether that value's in Bitcoin, whether it's a Facebook stock, an Amazon stock, whether it's a US bond, whether it's the US dollar, whether it's the euro. The whole purpose of XRP is to make value more liquid, more fluid, and a lot faster, a lot safer, and a lot more transparent. And it's because of the security and the clearance. That's why things take so long. Is because it's finding the trust in the systems, and obviously when we're talking trillions of dollars, even billions of dollars, you know, we're not talking about little bits of money that can easily be lost here. But with Ripple and its technology, it's decentralized and immutable data, it's something I will be able to handle. And I think looking 10 years into the future, the world will be a very, very different place. You know, imagine going to McDonald's and you know, buying a fraction of your Facebook stock to buy yourself your Happy Meal for your daughter. You know, that is the world where we will be going. A lot of people can't see it yet, they can't visualize it. You know, we're talking about people who are logging into sites, building sites with a thumbprint scanner to say that they've clocked in. They press it to come on the way back out. That's how many hours that they've done. A smart contract can bundle all that together. This employee's done X amount of hours at X amount of value, so we'll do a payout on this date through all this information that we've gathered. And that's taken out of accounting. You know, you normally have an accountant that'll be sorting all the payroll. And again, with smart contracts, it will eliminate this. And it'll also eliminate the, you know, you get issues sometimes when you get paid, sometimes you're underpaid, sometimes you're overpaid, usually keep your mouth shut about it. But mistakes happen. With human interaction, mistakes are more likely to happen. But when you've got an algorithm as of XRPL, you know, things in the future will start becoming a lot more automated. The ability of the AI infrastructure will increase, and that's why I always do say in 10 to 20 years time, 60% of worldwide payments will be automated AI payments. And it's like the example that I've just given you there. Payroll is just one of many use cases out there, and it's absolutely fantastic to be in this technology at such an early stage. We've got a lot of people talk about November being a very integral month. If you follow all these, you know, bearable guys, Ripple Riddler, there's a lot of dates: 5th of November, 20th of November, 30th of November. They're declaring to be crucial dates at this point. Now, obviously, I love a conspiracy. If you keep hearing me sniffing up, I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a cold. But I love a conspiracy, as you know. I mean, if you look back as far back as you can, if you type onto Twitter, onto YouTube, you know, XRP is the one world currency, the world reserve currency. I shit you not, this channel is the first channel in the world to claim that fact. I mean, can you imagine what it'll be like in 7 years' time? When all these people who are still unfamiliar with digital assets are like, what's this XRP? That's the world reserve. I mean, what is it? And 7 years ago, there's a video of the master plan, get ready for a one world currency. That'll be a great day, that. Because it's going to happen. It just makes sense for it to happen. I mean, geopolitically, a lot of stuff has been happening recently. And again, it's all going to stem back to this video that I have got in development. It's going to be sort of a follow-up from the documentary. It's going to be an in-depth with lots of detail and information for you to absorb. That's obviously supporting the claims that I made in the documentary. And I'm going to keep that basis going on for the next couple of years as things do start to evolve. And, you know, the stuff that I talk about does start coming to fruition. But when you look at stuff geopolitically, you know, Vladimir Putin has come out, in which I'm going to include a clip into the video, talking about dollar de-dollarization, about the BRICS network creating their own new payment system away from the dollar. You've got the European central banks that are talking about the same thing as well, and it's going to come to a point in life where the vast majority of the world are going to want to move away from the dollar process, and this is the de-dollarization that we do talk about. Now, I'm not going to say XRP is going to come out there after 2 years and whip up the world reserve currency. I don't think it'll be liquid enough to do that at that point. Again, though, I do say that, and it's all about the value of XRP. If it's a liquid now, but the value of XRP moves and shoots up to, you know, $500, then it's going to need less XRP in order for these transactions to commence, making it more liquid. But again, it's all about the value of that XRP, and we'll just have to see how it goes from that. We've got obviously all the talk with Fidelity, and that I spoke about this, but again, this is another important step we need to keep an eye on. Is institutional custodian services that can offer and provide security, excuse me, and assurance to the institutional investor that they are safe, they are insured, they are backed by a reputable, predominant figure in the industry. You know, you talk about your Fidelities, your JP Morgans, your Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, your Nasdaqs, and they've all come out and they've all spoke about it. It's amazing, isn't it, at the start of this year, it's all calling it a scam and a fraud. And, you know, every single time that one of these predominant figures, i.e. Warren Buffett, comes out, Bitcoin shreds 20% of its value. You know, the coin market cap incident with the removing the South Korean exchanges, stripping 30% value from XRP. And it's basically been a game of tit for tat in the mainstream media, driving down the prices. And basically, you know, getting the unaware, unsuspected investor to implant fear into that person to sell and let go of the assets. And it has worked, just as it worked in 1995 with the Dell stocks, the Apple stocks, the Microsoft stocks. You know, at this point in life on mainstream media, you was an idiot if you held these stocks, because this technology, and when I say that, obviously we're talking about the internet at this point, this technology was only used for paedophiles, it was only used for pornography, and it would never fulfill a purpose in modern day society. Now look around, could we live without the internet? Yeah, we could survive. But I mean, think about what the internet has done for the evolution of mankind itself. You know, information on demand is what it's created. The internet of information, and we're there now, an interconnected system and database where one email provider can interact with an internet site to go and interact with another email provider. And that's what we are building now with the internet of value. We don't see that. We're still using the same process of, let's bundle our money, put it into an envelope, post it into the post box, wait for the postman to pick it up, send it over to their department so they can sort through the mail. They'll go put it on a plane, fly it over to a country, and then obviously it'll get sorted out in that sorting office, and then it might get to the person who you wanted to send it to. But during A to B, the process, there's a lot of stuff that can happen in that process. Now, although I said that on the standpoint of that's how the mail system works compared to email, it stands absolutely the same way for the internet of value. You've got your intermediary banks that are held responsible for passing this money through certain payment channels, and eventually it's going to be the system like XRPL. And I do strongly, but I mean, you've got to be an idiot to think that there's going to be another competitor out there that can produce this service that we're going to rely on the internet of value. I mean, the Interledger protocol, the ILP, is an integral part to the internet of value. It's going to be the piece and the technology that connects all your different payment providers, whether it's blockchain payment system, credit card dealers, debit card dealers, banking institutions, individual people. Every single database and system that is responsible for sending value can now be interconnected with the Interledger protocol, and that is a technology designed by Ivan Schwartz. There was somebody else who designed it with. And that has been gifted to the world, to the communities of the world, to the payment instructors, where they can connect with the Interledger protocol. I do apologise. And ask yourself, what is the key bridge between all these? You know, if you've got value in one of these networks, you need to send it to another network. They're not interoperable with each other, but with Interledger protocol they are. But in order for the value to move from one to another, it still needs the bridge asset. The bridge asset, as we all know, is XRP. And it will become the global standard. It will become, in my eyes, the global unit of account. I mean, like I say, we spoke about the geopolitical state of the world. We talk about de-dollarization, and I do believe the Chinese currency will take a lot of the pressure from the dollar to split it into two in order for this process to be a lot more steady and stable than just an outright collapse and basically carnage being created throughout the world. Again, as we were saying before, we've got Simon, a new person we're speaking to, When I do the video, I'll put pictures. There's a few more people that I do believe need to shout out, a good 4 or 5 in my next video that I will be putting. I'll be obviously showing you the Twitter handles and the stuff. But it's very interesting stuff as well that's happening in my country, in the UK, where the government has issued 2 banks, and it needs to be done by 2019 January. There's severe upgrades to your banks. I mean, if you check out your banks, there may be maintenance downtime for certain ones, but what they're doing, they're embedding a thing called ring fencing, and it's basically going to be separating all personal accounts away from business accounts, so it's not all bundled into the same pot. And I've got my own suspicions of why this has been done. I mean, originally this was aimed for 2020, but it has been pushed forward, and it has to be done by January 2019. Now let me just run a scenario through you on this case. If you imagine, you know, we have this financial crash that I've been talking about, and I've been talking about the global freeze. It will happen, make no 2 ways about. The global freeze will happen, Ice 9 that I spoke about. If you freeze the entire financial system and the working class have got no access to their money, you are going to create riots nationwide in this country. People will be fighting in stores for food. You know, there'll be just daylight robbery happening throughout the board. Now, this ring fencing to me sounds highly suspicious that they are going to separate personal accounts so that pot can still remain open and used for transactions whilst freezing the corporate side, the business side of things. That way, when we do have the global freeze, the everyday person, the man like myself going to work, can still have access to his funds in order to still continue life as such, if you want to call it that. You know, that's probably the best way of putting it. If I've got no access to my money in the bank, I can't go and get my shopping in order for my family to survive. So what am I going to do as a person? I'm not a criminal. I'm a law-abiding citizen. I pay my taxes, but I will make no 2 ways about it. If we freeze this system, I'll be straight into my Tesco store, fleecing the cunt apart for anything that I need to survive. And I won't be the only one. And this is what we need to prevent. So this ring fence, this ring fencing that we've seen in the UK, that has been urgently pushed for 2019 January to be implemented for all banking, major banking services in my country, are separating personal account money away from business account money. Because it's the businesses, it's the banks that have failed the system, and to bring into the middle class and their finances that they've got, it will create chaos, absolute chaos. So again, that's my suspicions. I spoke about the impending financial crisis. I've said it, I'll say it again. Q4 2019, unsustainable monetary system by that point. You know, we're talking about countries that that are struggling to service the debt today. They're struggling to service the debt that they are owing today. And we've got interest rates that are increasing. And we've got another 4 of them from now till 2019, Q4, potentially more adding on top of that, depending how the Federal Reserve monetary policy continues. And, you know, listen, these countries that can't service the debt today, in order to service the current debt, is going to be more expensive, meaning more costs put onto these you know, emerging markets. Yeah, I mean, we say emerging markets. Just look at Italy. The ECB's rejected their new budget, and I wouldn't exactly call them an emerging economy. It's a well-known country. You know, we're not talking about a third world country. We're talking about a first world country. Italy, a well-renowned place in the world. And that could be a big tipping point for the ECB, because when Italy go, you've got all your other countries, your other banking institutions that have bought Italian bonds, and it's going to be a worldwide systemic crisis. Make no 2 ways about it. And I've got my own suspicions, my own conspiracies, and I believe obviously this is what this technology is for, is to enable the prevention of total collapse. I mean, it's not just me thinking this now. You've got the IMF coming out, you've got the ECB coming out, you've got the world basically coming out saying that distributed ledger technology has its uses, and what, you know, a lot of them are white papers, a lot of them are dreams that are yet to become available. A lot of them are scams, and a lot of them have just got no utility and will disappear. But just look at the groundbreaking work that Ripple are doing. Look at what they are doing as a company to evolve the XRPL. Now, Ripple are only just one company building on top of the XRPL. There is no stopping nobody building their own system on there. So you've got XRP, basically which is going to utilise Xcoin. That's Ripple's way of saying this is how we're going to use the XRPL for our payments and payment flows. But make no mistake about it, you know, the central banks can build on top of XRPL. There's nothing stopping them, nothing whatsoever. Will they do it? I don't know. But basically, I can tell you one thing. We are going to have an interesting year from now. The next 12 months are going to be extremely interesting. We've just had the Q3 report come out from Corey Johnson, and what's he just come out saying on that? We've had a 487% increase of institutional buying. And out of the institutional buying, Corey Johnson himself is saying the demand from Wall Street itself, buying directly from Ripple, has increased. Wall Street, remember what I've been telling you? I'm going to stop swearing in my videos. It's an aim of mine. I'm going to create a swear jar. Every time that I swear, I'm going to donate XRP to St. Jude's charity. You know, hold me to that, people. Because that'll be a way, you know, if I do swear, at least I'm swearing for a good cause, because, you know, we're clearly being... It don't matter, I'm not going into it. Anyway, as I was saying, I actually forgot what I was saying now. Oh yeah, Corey Johnson, Wall Street institutional investment up by 487%. Wall Street themselves directly buying from Ripple, directly buying XRP from, you know, this scam technology that's doomed for failure. It's no good for nothing. You know, it's a security. You know, why would they be buying it? Just ask yourself the question, why would they be buying it? Because, listen, I'm trying my best as a person to educate you on the deception of the world that we see. You know, let alone investment stuff. I'm not a financial advisor, as you're well aware. But we do see a lot of deception in the world. The same deception that we've seen in 1995 with internet stocks. Being, you know, you're an idiot if you hold them. It's for pornography. It's for drug trafficking. Whatever it was used for, it was a bad thing. And you was an idiot for holding it. And those people who were idiots looked around and said, oh God, this isn't a good thing. If you're getting the banks coming out and the mainstream media saying this, then we're best off selling our Apple stocks, our Dell stock. No, let's just sell them to the same institutions that are talking shit about it. Do you understand where I'm coming from with this? It's the same thing. It's history repeating itself. It's Wall Street investors, Silicon Valley investors who have missed the curve. They've missed the curve, so they've pulled it right back down to an investable point for themselves. That's why institutional investing has gone up for XRP, for direct XRP sales with Ripple. That's why Wall Street demand is thick and fast now. Do you know why? Because the price is suppressed. The price has been suppressed so they can fill up their bags whilst they are creating the ecosystems, offering custody, offering the trading desks, so that on the next, and believe me when I say the next bull run, you know, there'd be no 98% corrections for a good, well, I wouldn't go so far as saying 98% correction. There's more of an ICO scam like BitConnect. But the correction we've seen this year is not a normal correction. Yeah, people could argue the point that it could be. But listen, this is a Wall Street accumulation correction. Make no mistake about it. This is how they operate. This is how the 1% obtain and remain their wealth through the next revolution. I mean, like you say, and I'll say it again, the internet stocks, they are now the corporate elite of the world. Your Google, your Amazon, your Microsoft, all these companies that are involved in the internet are now the most elite corporations of the planet. The planet. Now, don't forget, these were scams in 1995. You was an idiot. You was an idiot if you held these in 1995 because it was going to be used for nothing. Now, look, listen, for those who follow XRP, you'll probably have, it's no new news for you. There's new people that are going to be coming into this space, and it's for everybody's duty out there to educate the new people coming out. Now, I've been getting a lot of stick recently. I'm not going to mention with the person. I'm not going to stoop that childish. But there's a big divide of fact finding and speculating in this community. You're not allowed to speculate no more without being hype. Can I just recall what hype is, right, for a second? Because people are connecting Ripple with Temenos when Temenos are directly coming out saying they've integrated Ripple technology. No, you make as that as you want. But Temenos are responsible for providing banking software to 3,000 banks worldwide. That's 1/4 of what Swift do. ACI are responsible for $14 trillion worth of settlement every day. Now, I'm not going to go out there saying, oh, by November, all this is going to be run through XRPL. I believe the natural network effects need to take place now. This is just like Facebook when it was released in 2004 with no users, to then 2010, maybe having a few million users, to having billions today over a 10-year cycle. You know, this evolution isn't going to happen overnight, and there's argued to suggest that it could do, but we do need to make our expectations realistic. I'm not going to come out saying 589 at the end of the year. Is it a possibility? Yeah, a very, very slim chance that it could happen. I can't see it happening personally myself. But we will see a jump in the next 12 months when we've got institutional custody services for the people and for the institutions. Now, obviously, listen, if I've got my own worries holding XRP myself. You've got PolySign, which is going to be a custodian service for the everyday person. Again, excuse me for coughing. Now, the way I see this currently there's about 1.7 million ledgers. That's not to say that every ledger is responsible for one person. You've got exchange ledgers, which will suffice for a lot more people. But the matter of the fact is, you know, even if you say tens of millions of people invested in this space, it is going to become billions eventually. You know, this is going to be the new way that money moves. Cash will be dead in 10 years. Cash, fiat paper money, you know, we're going to still have your central bank digital currencies or digital fiat currencies, whatever you want. There's a couple of abbreviations, but paper will be dead. It's an evolution of the monetary system. And the US dollar is not going to die, it's not going to disappear. People in the United States are still going to use US dollars, but it will not be serving the purpose of the world reserve currency. That's all we're trying to say. When we say one world currency, we get a lot of confusion on the comments. And a lot of people are saying with the one world currency that no, it's not going to replace fiat. It's going to complement fiat. It's going to enable fiat money to move faster, more transparent, instantaneous settlements, which you don't see today. It's just an evolutional process. Now, obviously, everyone who's invested in this space, who are nuts about the news that comes out daily like myself, we know where this is going. And we're out here speaking, creating the content for the people because they're unaware. And there's billions of people who are unaware of what's happening. Billions of people who've got no interest, who are too arrogant, too naive to look into this in the correct way and mannerism that you should be doing. It is a financial evolution, and are we not allowed to hype this? You know, are we not taking payments from days to high expensive fees to seconds, instantaneous settlement? Are we not going to create financial inclusion with this technology? Are we not going to allow the 1.9 billion people of the world who are locked out the financial system a place and a part to contribute to the world GDP? Is this not what this technology is? Are we not allowed to hype about this? I mean, come on. Yeah, okay, it's okay for us to link Ripple with ACI because they're telling us that they are integrating the software. It's okay to talk about Temenos and Ripple because they are telling us they are integrating the software. Things don't happen overnight, ladies and gentlemen, but the monumental steps that Ripple are doing in order for this XRPL ecosystem to become the internet of value, it's absolutely catastrophic. But for the people and the like-minded individuals like ourselves, like myself, who like to go out there and go that one step further and go past factual statements, announcements, we want to know what's going on in the back, because there's a shitload of stuff happening in the background that we will never know about until it's too late. And what is, you know, listen, at the end of the day, if you're in this space, you're invested, you need to do your own due diligence. You need to do your own research. If you're putting your mouth on the your cash on the table, you better make sure that you can lose all this money. If you do not do the research, if you do not prepare yourself, if you're just going off what I'm saying in this video, then you are doing it wrong. You need to go out there, you need to get your head into the articles, you need to do the research. You need to go out there and say to yourself, look, listen, I'm willing to take this risk on this evolutionary change in the financial infrastructure. I'm willing to put everything that I own on the table in a bid of success of this technology. That's the attitude that you need to have. Now listen, we're out there, we are enthusiasts of this technology, and I'm sorry and I apologise to anyone who I offend who only rely on factual statements. But this is a goddamn revolution. It's the same way that information does today. No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I'm jumping the gun on certain things, making certain calls. You know, listen, people out there saying that Temenos is going to be fully integrated by the end of November and all payments worldwide will go through Temenos. I'm not saying that. But I'm saying eventually that will happen. It will happen. It is a crawl, walk, run scenario. Ladies and gentlemen, make it as you will. This video is getting long. Again, I've got a factual video, a screen recorded video. It will drop your jaws yet again, as the documentary once did, because everything that I am claiming in the geopolitical events worldwide, with the financial markets, I've not covered that for a couple of weeks because obviously I've been on holiday. But listen, go and have a look at what the fuck is going down in the US markets. Listen, it's not good. It is not good at all. I'm going to have to cut this video short at this. You know, look out for our updates. Another thing that I want to point out as well, if you've made it this far into the video, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Instagram, and we've just opened a Telegram group. Now, all these social media platforms that we operate on, you know, listen, I talk about videos daily, but listen, you'll get a lot more information from some of these other platforms. So in the link in the description, you can, obviously you can find where these are. Another thing as well, we're very thankful for Ledger approaching us to do an unboxing review, and we've got the affiliate link to buy directly from Ledger, which will be in the description below. And for those that are watching this and thinking, what is a Ledger? It's basically a cold storage wallet to keep your cryptocurrency safe. There's a lot of stuff happening. I mean, there was a Canadian exchange that had been fleeced for all of its crypto. Everybody lost everything that they owned on that exchange. And this is the scenario and the reality of the world, unfortunately. With the hot wallets, with your exchange wallets, you need to get it off your exchanges and get it into a safe and secure hardware device, you know, which is the Nano Ledger S. And if you're unfamiliar with what that is, below the affiliate link to go buy it direct from Amazon, you will see a tutorial and unboxing that Scott did make, and basically this will show you everything you need to know about the Nano Ledger. And I highly recommend that you buy one to keep your crypto safe, because you don't want to be losing basically this opportunity that we've got laid before us. I'm going to cut the video short of that, and look out for obviously the daily podcast videos as I'm back in work. It will be coming out thick and fast. Thank you very much.